For this trick, you'll ask your spectator what their favorite four of a kind is, so in this case we'll use queens. Then you take any three random cards and just deal them face up or face down on top of those queens. And it doesn't matter which cards are there, get rid of the rest of the deck. And now one by one, you can ask your spectator to shuffle these piles up and then place them on top of each other. It really doesn't matter where the queens are face up in these piles, so they can really randomly shuffle them. So they shuffle this one, okay, and ends up on top, that's fine. Now pick the entire packet up and let them shuffle these, so they really can mix them up as much as they want. Now, we're going to deal the cards onto the table, and one's going to go face down, and the next one's going to get flipped the opposite direction that it already is. So this one's down, this one's flip, down, 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 flip. Now, we'll cut the cards. We'll let the spectator cut as many times as they want. It really is up to them. Let's say they stop right there. Now we're going to deal into four piles again. So we're just going to do it like that. Now we're going to take these piles and flip them upside down on top of each other. So I'll flip this one like that. I'll flip this one like this. And we'll stack these two piles up. We'll flip the whole packet over. And when I spread these cards out, they should be shocked to see that the only face-up cards happen to be the four queens. What's great about this trick is that it's almost self-working. It is just as clean as it looks in the presentation. So they really can shuffle these cards. You can mix them up in any order. It just doesn't matter where the queens are. Put these four piles up. You stack them up. And now they really can mix these up. Again, it doesn't matter where the queens are in this pile. Now, when you deal, you just have to remember that it's going to be face down and then flip up, regardless of the original facing of the card in the first place. So it's down and then it's flip, down, 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 flip. Now, once you've done that part, you can't shuffle these cards anymore. You have to keep them in this order. What you can do is cut the cards as many times as you want because it doesn't change the order. It just changes the starting point. So they can cut as many times as they want. And now you're going to deal these into four piles. Here's the first thing you have to do is pay attention which piles have queens face up and if any piles have all cards face down. So just to pay attention to those two things. So we're looking for a queen. We don't see any queens face up. We see face down cards there. Oh, there's a queen face up. So remember that pile's got to be in that direction. So we're dealing and we see, oh, there's another queen. There, there, and there. So here's what I see. I see that there are two queens face up in two piles. And I'm just memorizing this. I'm not saying it out loud, of course. This entire pile doesn't have queens. I know that. So I know this pile's got to be flipped upside down. These piles are faced the right way already. And this pile has to be upside down. These have to be the other two queens. It just has to be, obviously, because they're the only other two face down cards. So knowing that, I'll think about what I want to do here. So I might take these cards and flip them on top of these cards. Now I'm putting the queen the wrong way, so that they're all upside down. So now I can flip this entire packet again on top of this packet, put them all the right way. And now I'll take this entire chunk and I'll flip them the other way on top of this so that they're all upside down on top of this one. Or I could take this one and flip it up this way, but if I did that, I don't want to expose the queens. So maybe I would just go this way and do it. All right, and now I'd flip the entire packet over knowing that that's the side the queens would be on. So you really have choices while you're doing this. You just have to pay attention to which piles the queens would be in, and then when you spread it out, they'll be face up. So I know that might have been a little bit confusing, but you'll see once you play around with this a bit that it's actually not that hard to follow. So we'll try another version. I've shuffled these again, and we'll deal these four cards out. So far, I've seen no queens. Now, of course, you're going to deal these cards on top of each other, but I'll deal them out so you can kind of see what's happening in the piles. So again, so far I've seen no queens. So far there's no information here. Okay, first one. I know this pile is faced the right way because there's a queen. I'll deal this one. Anytime you see all four cards are face down, but there are queens face up, you know this pile doesn't have any queens in it. It can't have any queens because if you flip these four over, you'd have more than four queens, right? So this pile has to be the right way because they're all face down. And the same would be true if any of these piles were all face up. So I know a couple of things right now. I know this pile is good. I could eliminate these cards. I know there's no queens under here. Without even looking, I know that because they're all face down. So the queens have to either be these two face down cards or these two face down cards. Of course, they can't be these two face down cards because the other queens are in that pile already. You can't flip this pile over and then you'd have two other cards upside down. So I know that these two have to be the other queens. There's no other way about it. So when I'm flipping the cards over, I just have to remember that I want these to be flipped the opposite way that they currently are, and I want this one to stay the same way that it is. So you could do that in many different ways. So maybe I'll just gather these two piles up and I'll put them on top of each other, right? And then I could take this pile and I could flip it upside down on top of these two because these are upside down, so I'm putting these two upside down. So now I know I've got all the queens in the right order and they're upside down. I could just take this pile and flip it right side up so it's technically upside down. So when I flip the whole packet back over, now they're all upside down again, and the queens are face up.